Hey guys, today I want to show you an interesting project. I know we did one video on caning, but I want to show you how to reupholster over caning, but do it in a way that doesn't affect the caning underneath in case they want to go back to the caning. So what I mean by that, here's the chair. I want to show you everything that you need for this project. I have two of these. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to upholster one of them and then compare the two, one caned and one upholstered for you. They're two different chairs, but I think you get the idea what I'm trying to do. So when you look at this, the customer here, this is like the third time she's had these cane, and look what happens. I mean, they break no time at all in the case of these. So she's just tired of it, and she wants me to go over it. Woodworkers are probably going, oh no, he's got to go over that chair. He's got to put staples in that beautiful chair. But I'm going to do it in a way that they can easily recover that. And you know, when I say recover, I mean go back to the old caning. And again, if they like, they can strip my fabric off really easy and then put the caning back on. So, so you're going to need the chair for this project. You're going to need 1-inch foam for this project. I'll explain why 1-inch foam in a little while. You're going to need burlap. You're going to need webbing. You're going to need cotton. You're going to need your staple gun, your scissors, 3/8 inch staples, the webbing stretcher, the fabric, and the gimp. So let's get going. Okay guys, what you have to remember when you see a cane chair, this is a beautiful cane side chair, you have to realize that the height is actually, this is the height of a sofa cushion, top of a sofa cushion or a chair. It's 17 inches from the floor. So when they make these, they're not anticipating putting any filling, any padding on whatsoever, even a little pillow added. It's gonna bring it up high, both aesthetically and practically for your, relationship to your feet on the floor to the seat height would be thrown off. So what you want to do is minimize the padding. I mean, you have to put some padding in this for sure, because my customer's tired of this happening. So I told her, once you do this, it'll last for a good long time. But that doesn't mean I want to, I would advise you not to upholster over the wood portions here. So I'm going to show you. Let's try to keep to the interior of, even in front of where the caning is, right in this area, okay? So we're going to try to keep this too, so when a customer turns it over, she sees the caning, it is kind of nice. I don't want to put anything on the bottom, even camber, I'll leave it like that. So let's get started with the webbing. So the whole idea is to minimize, right? So, but also we need strength. So I could tell you that I need at least 2 pieces front to back. I think 3 would be too much, okay? So I'm going to do 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line it up. Notice you've got a smaller area back here, I mean width-wise, and it goes longer to the front of the chair. So what you want to do is make sure that you angle it first, okay? If you angle it first, this is just a technique you might not have seen me do in previous videos because there's not many curved chairs like this, and I don't always start on an end like this to show you, but I'm going to show you. Just bring it this way. Make sure you have it angled with the chair, and then look at this part. I want you to be in front of this, right? Okay, I missed that first one, so I'm going to take that out. How'd you like that, guys? I took that out with my fingernail. Oh, they're saying, hey, this guy's tough. It wasn't in all the way. So now I'm going to take my webbing stretcher, and what you want to do is you have to be careful here too, guys. You don't want to overstretch this. It's possible with leverage that you could actually break the chair at this point. So what you're looking for is to try to put it in at about 2 o'clock, right? As you're looking 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and stretch it so that it's about drum tight. Okay, and then you're gonna and look where I am now. I'm gonna cut this to show you, and then I'm gonna staple it back. I'm trying to preserve as much of the caning as I can, so that if they want to go back, they could. If they undo here, even if some staple stubs remain, they're going to be covered. Okay, so in other words, we're really protecting the outer edge here. Okay, even though the customer didn't say anything about that, that's how I do it. That's how I want you to do it, because these are beautiful chairs. I do love caning. I don't like the way they break like this, but I want to show you, if you can see that, just how much this is sagging, right? So the webbing is flat to the chair now. So let's do another one just like that. Okay. I don't want you to, don't remove the old caning. Try to be a preservationist, right? The person who owns these chairs down the road will appreciate it if they ever go back to the cane, trust me. Okay, again, you know, 1 o'clock with your webbing stretcher and drum tight, no more than that. I don't know if you can see it, but if you can, it's possible, this is all leverage. You can pull this down and break that wood rail back there, so be careful. These are dainty chairs actually, so. Okay, do that. Now I'm going to decide side to side if I want 2 webbing or 1. Get this here. Smooth this chair side. I think I need 2, guys. That's going to really optimize the strength. So you weave these, right? And you can use the same technique I just did there. Now in other videos you've seen me start like this, but just to get it lined up you can start with it unfolded. Just another technique. But you guys will develop your own techniques. What I like about upholstery is nobody's perfect and nobody's right 100% with techniques. You might see another upholsterer say, no, always fold it. That might have been me in some of the other videos. So notice how I'm taking the staple gun and I'm angling it just a little bit in because I'm really close to the edge. I don't know if you noticed that. That's very subtle. Glad I mentioned that. Now, I'm going to show you that again now that we have the angle. I'm not stapling like this. I'm stapling at a little bit of an angle so the staple misses the edge of the wood. Okay? It's another technique. So this is kind of like precision upholstery that we're doing here. We're slowing down a little bit. Sometimes we go fast, right? And right now we're slowing down. I don't want to take away the integrity of this chair too much. Okay, so now we're going to weave this. This optimizes the strength. And again, I'm just going to lay it out like that first, and then use my webbing stretcher. Now this is at an angle, so you guys are going to have to figure this one out on your own, but what I'm doing is I'm angling my, notice how I'm angling the webbing stretcher to the angle of the chair, and I'm trying to achieve that drum tight no matter how you do this. This being drum tight is the most important thing. 4 staples, we're going to do that, and we cut our webbing. We're all done for this chair with the webbing and the webbing stretcher. I'm going to fold this back. Great, that is really tight. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to put our burlap in. I've cut this a little oversized, about 16 by 16, chair smaller than that, but what I want to do is, I want to be right, in this case you guys, you've seen other videos where I go over, I tell you to go over the webbing to get a good staple line. This, I'm telling you, I want you to be on the webbing. Again, that's because we don't have much room and I want to try to keep the integrity of that wood on the outer edges. So I just want to say again, all you wood people out there, go, look what he's doing. The customer is tired of the cane falling through. And I really, quite honestly, don't blame her. 3 times is enough. For her, at least. So now what I'm going to do, I cut this off a little bit so that I can grab hold of this, you guys. This is another interesting fact, is that you don't want too much or too little. About 1.5 inches from where you're stapling is for stretching. It's just enough to grab hold of, okay? So what I'm going to do is grab hold of that. Notice the stretch. You see that stretch? I know the camera's picking this up, so that's cool. Stretch, hand stretch, not with the webbing stretcher. Hand stretch about every 2 inches opposite of those staples back there. Not too, you can't do it too far away from the back there, okay? So you'll see because you keep pulling and nothing happens. So what you could do here, what I would advise you to do is trim this down now. Never pre-trim. Never pre-trim. Just try to get it featured, fastened back here, pulled, and then trim. So what you could do on one side here, you could fold this over, just on the side here, about a 3 or 4 inch area. And then you have to figure out on an oval, you know, you're still working somewhat front to back to front. So I'm going to get another couple of staples back here. And then my final stretch right here. Look at that, guys. You see that action right there is right to here. And then it becomes, this area becomes the side. Does that make sense? The side. And I'm going to finish stapling down here. Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. I want to show you this now. So you can trim this up just a little bit to get you that 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to go in the middle. I'm going to stretch like in that 3-inch or 4-inch area in the middle or the side, middle of the side. Then I'm going to go back here because I need to keep pulling it just a little bit more. I'm going to get a staple there, and a stretch here. See that, guys? And now I'm just going to get a stretch here, get a little stretch here. I'm being careful now. I want to go over that painting over to the finished wood. More staples. And you can, it's optional, but you can trim this up just a little bit if you like. Don't go too close, because that fold with the staples is providing, believe it or not, really good strength. People say, how come you didn't fold it underneath? Because it's not as strong. It's stronger when you're up. It's stronger that way. So when I push down, I wish you guys could feel this, but this is perfect. It's nice and flat. It's not going to go anywhere. She'll never have another problem with this, you know, and she still gets to see her caning. Okay, so now a very important thing now is to make sure before we put our foam, and I selected a 1-inch piece of foam, pretty much the minimum that you can put. You could get a 1/2-inch foam, but I don't think a 1/2-inch foam is enough to get rid of the bulging that the burlap creates. So I'm going to show you, I think the 1-inch foam is going to do a great job. It's not going to come up too much. It's going to crown out nice. It's going to look great. But before you do that, what you want to do, you want to take an oval piece of cotton and just put that in and trim that up with your hand. Don't leave any machine edge on the cotton. You could do the same thing with bonded dacron, as long as it's not too big, and feather the bonded dacron. Usually when you split bonded dacron, not loose dacron, guys, that's not a good idea. Bonded dacron can be split and then put on. The reason you want to split is because it's easy to feather like the cotton if you don't have cotton. Cotton is great though. So you can even, if you want, tuck that underneath just to get ready for the foam. Now we're ready for our foam. Again, do not pre-cut. Do not pre-cut the foam. So what we're going to do is we're going to start in the back. Watch this carefully, you guys. I'm going to take this. I'm not going to go straight into the foam like this. Everybody makes that mistake. What I am going to do is I'm going to kind of tuck the bottom part of the foam in and then staple up at the top at that point. Now look, I don't know if you can see this. I'm just going to make an effort to show you this over here. Look, bring that underneath. I'm folding that underneath, and I'm just kind of grabbing the top half layer of foam. Does that make sense, you guys? Okay, now, you can either do this freehand or take a magic marker and just do the front first, not the sides. But I'm going to just freehand this. I'm looking, and I'm pulling it just a little bit because I know I'm going to have to pull it just a little bit. You see, guys, when you look at that, it looks like it's cut too short, but we're going to be pulling it. So watch. Look at that. Oh, isn't that beautiful? I mean, you guys don't know. Sometimes these small jobs are very satisfying. You know, when you have we had the biggest sofa in the world, we called it, on one of our other videos. You guys should check it out. Was that on a video? Yeah, I think it was. Or on our website or something. It was huge. So this is a pleasure after you do something like that. You can see the light at the end of the tunnel much quicker. Okay, so I'm going to get this front pretty much done. This stretch, you're probably wondering how much I stretch it. Just a little bit, just a little bit. It's the only way I could say it. Now I'm gonna, now never pre-cut both sides, you guys. Do one side at a time, secure the side that you cut, and go to the other side, give it a little tug, and trim it. That little tug represents, look like it's underdone or undercut, but it represents the stretch that you're gonna have to do. Let me show you again. Okay, so here, no stretch at all, right? I'm just trimming. Did you guys pick that up on the other one? You replay it to see, but I didn't talk a little bit about it. On this side, it's just a cut even. The other side, it's a pull and a cut. And then you let it go and it looks like you undercut it, but then you're going to pull it back. Does that make sense, you guys? So that's what I like about it. I'm going to mention my online classes while I'm doing this. I'm glad I remembered to talk to you guys about that little feature that I just did. But if you were working with the student or I was working with the student, either I remember it or the student will say something and say, is this how you do it? Or, you know, why did you cut that like that? That's why the online classes are a little different than the YouTube videos. Although I really put an effort into the YouTube videos, I try my hardest. It seems like sometimes we forget that information. So you look, we're even there. So I'm going to show you this again. Okay, I'm gonna just trim it. I'm just going to bring it out, stretch it a little bit, stretch it a little bit, and trim, stretch it and trim, stretch it and trim. It looks like I undercut it, and then I pull and staple. And at the same time, I'm folding that bottom of the foam down, okay? So it's all about transitions in upholstery. This is what we're doing. We're making a beautiful transition between fabric and wood, pretty much, after it's done. You don't realize it's padding fabric and wood. What that means is that you don't, if you had not tucked the foam underneath, you would be dealing with pull marks, especially with the fabric I have. Wait till you see it. It's a very light fabric. So that's why you're always concentrating on these transition lines to make sure they're as smooth as they can be, right? Okay, I think I'm going to need just another staple this way. Maybe a few. Maybe one more. Okay. Look at that, guys, huh? Not bad. Most importantly, what I want to show you is the profile. I didn't really come up too much. I mean, it's minimum. I don't want to throw the scale of the chair off at all. Okay, so now let's go to the cotton. So what I want to do is minimize, you guys, minimize the cotton that I use also. So this represents a full layer of cotton. I'm actually, not because I'm cheap, but because I'm concerned about how high this is going to be. I am going to take a half a layer off. So I'm only wanting a half a layer, that's it. Okay, because I'm already at my maximum with what I would like to see for padding. So I just kind of drape that over there. Now if you've seen my other videos, you know when you trim cotton, you press and trim, press and trim, press and trim, press and trim, right? All the way around. Okay, you don't want this peeking through. That's why you're pressing and trimming. If you just trim it without pressing, then what happens is it will peek through, and that's really hard to contend with when you're going with your stapling on your fabric. You'll see in a minute. So I'm going to do this all the way around. Come through here. And I love cotton for this reason. Look how nice that kind of lends itself to the foam. Look at that, guys. Isn't that nice? No other material will do that, will lend itself that quickly to the foam. Married it nicely, as they say. Okay, now we're on our fabric. Now, you might be surprised if you've seen my other videos how I'm going to do this. Okay, because on the other videos and on the online classes, we really stress stretching fabric. But I'm going to show you how to, the thing about this is, because it's minimum as far as batting goes, the less batting, the less stretching you have to do. So sometimes what you can do is fold the fabric and staple it. And what's important about that on this is that it's going to give you a cleaner line for your trimming for the next step. So pin tacking, again, is also a good tool for you guys. I would highly recommend that you do that. But what I'm going to do is, I don't know if you guys could see this, but there are little monkeys in this fabric. And this is a cotton cloth fabric. I have to tell you, the cotton cloth, it's very thin. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna get my tape measure to make sure that I'm even here with my monkeys. We want to make sure the monkeys are straight. Straight monkeys, that's all we want. We don't want crooked monkeys. So 11, 5.5, we got 5.5, we've got a row in between a row of monkeys, and then I'm going to come down here and line it up there, and I'm pretty confident that that's good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold just like I started with the burlap, only I'm folding under, and now I need to be right over the caning into the finished wood, just slightly, so it's only, I'm going to have to do that, sorry, but that's the only place I'm going to have staples, just outside of that. Okay, I wanted to get this straight, so I put one in the front too, and I folded it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back here, and I'm going to try to fold this side with the curve. I think I'm pretty successful there. And then I'm going to come this side. Now, if you guys aren't comfortable with this, pin tack it. Don't do what I'm doing. I'm starting with the staple gun. Okay, a lot of people would be intimidated by this one. So when you pin tack or pin staple, you're taking your 6-ounce tacks and you're doing what I'm doing here, so that you have an out, or you can take it off if you need to. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim one side of the front up like this. I'm going to fold the fabric, and I'm going to not go any more where I stop stapling here. I'm going to help it by a stretch like this. This is very subtle, you guys. I'm not cranking this up, but there is a stretch that happens. It's very subtle. Okay. Come this way, trim this side up. Doing a two-way stretch pretty much. Stretch from here, stretch from here. You've seen my other videos, you know. So this is going to be a nice clean line, which you'll see. Okay, now what I'm going to do is come this side. I'm going to keep you guys in the loop here too. I'm going to trim the entire side. I'm going to fold. Staple right in the middle first. Then we're going to come to the front. I'm going to come right to where the leg is, to the front, just trying to get it even. I'm actually showing you really, this is an advanced technique, you guys. I mean, I really probably, if I were you, if just starting out, you might want to pin tack this whole thing. I mean, with a lightweight fabric like this, it's probably even more advisable. Once in a while we like to have fun, alright? So we're going to trim this front end just a little bit over here and give this a pull. That's stapled. There we go. A little bit there. Sometimes these little imperfections are okay because the gimp is 1/2 inch wide. It's going to go on nice and straight. So let's get heat our glue gun up and put that on. So guys, on trimming, I would recommend there's 2 types basically of trim or gimp. It's called gimp, G-I-M-P. One is a scroll, which is very loosely woven, and the other one's French. And the reason the French might be a little bit better, it actually looks nice, but the other reason is that it's more non-porous than the other ones. That I'm not sure if that's spoken well, but it's the scroll gimp, the glue can come through, bleed through. This not so much, bottom line. Okay, so it's good that way. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you cut it clean, so there's no threads here, and you want to put a little dab of glue here. Now you've seen me use this before in glue, but I will, for those of you who haven't, make sure you have a glue gun that has a hot and a high, low, hot and a low, I mean a high and a low setting, and always use the high setting, but beware that it's a very, very hot glue that comes out of there. The low setting, or guns that don't have the high setting, and you can get those in craft stores, do not heat the glue up high enough. It doesn't melt the glue in the way you want it to. I mean, the flip side to this is this glue comes out awfully hot. You have to be really careful. I would say that make sure you have ready some place to wipe your finger in case you get glue on it. You know, a lot of people when they're working, they get hot glue on. You'd be surprised. They don't want to go like that to their cover. So by the time they think about it, you've burnt your couple of layers of skin. So be careful. Always make sure. I have a very, you probably say, oh, look at that gross looking fleece that he's got on. The reason I have it on is because it's quick to get the glue off my finger, right? Sometimes you don't want to use your bench, or if you want, set up some cloth, some old cloth somewhere, make sure it's handy. Sometimes people tie it up to the top of the chair when they're working, so they can just go like that. Really quick though. If you're thinking about it, you've already burnt yourself, so be careful, okay? But I'm going to show you a way of doing this where you probably don't have to worry too much about burning it because your hands are wet. Make sure the glue gun head is clean, okay? And then get your first 1 inch. I'm right even up with this rail here, okay, with the back post, I mean, okay. So I'm only interested in getting about 1 inch, and I'm going to drop my gun, and I'm going to just get that in there. And I have to put my finger, if you don't want to put your finger like this, I have calluses, so sometimes I don't even feel the glue when it's on my fingers. If you don't want to do that, make sure you have your hammer handy, and your hammer can do what I did. Okay, but remember that you only have about 3 seconds. I'm going to show you that in a minute. I'm going to mention something else. So what I want to do is I want to be about halfway between the edge of the fabric, and I want the gimp to be going up the slope just a little bit. It's just angled a little bit with the slope. I'll show you what I mean. Almost wants to fall naturally for you, but so I want to show you. I want to go about and I'm putting a bead in here, and I'm just kind of letting the gimp fall into place. I want it to make its own beautiful line. If you're forcing it, especially around curves, you're going to find that you're going to go off your beautiful line that we created here. Okay, but look at what happens. It just blends in so nice, doesn't it, you guys? So that's what you're looking for. So I just want to show you too at the head of the gun. Hardly ever dress up the back of the gimp. You could do that sometimes, you need to in certain areas, but if you can just dress up the front. Sometimes I'd advise just a little bit of a back and forth motion to spread out that bead a little bit so that when you put this on, the gimp on, it doesn't bleed through the ends. All right, look how nice. Look at that, huh? How nice it goes with the wood. And you know, for all you guys just learning, you don't have to go too far. But I'm going to go a little bit further. I'm going to get a little bit more daring in the 1001, 1002, 1003. I go back. My hand acts like my fingers are acting like a clamp, and then or you can just do this with your hammer if you're a little unsure of yourself with the glue with your fingers. Okay, here we go again. I'm going to go 4 inches. For you guys just starting, I'd say go 2 inches. Okay, this is confidence, right? When you're going more than 2 inches. Okay, now the head of the gun got a little cotton. Make sure you wipe that out because you don't want that to distract your vision. You're lining this, right? A little cotton on the end of the gun can do that, can distract you enough. So I don't really want to make a mistake here. I don't want the glue to come through anywhere. I don't want it to come through the gimp, and I don't want it to come through the ends. Monkeys will be happy about that. So let's just go. It's beading out as it will. The bead is enough in this. I don't have to really spread it like I do sometimes. I'm really, really delighted at how this is coming out. I'm sure the customer will like it. Her fabric, not mine. So now what I do is I'm going to go a little further here. About there. And I'm going to cut this at about 3/4 of an inch longer. Right? And then I'm going to note that 3/4 of an inch, put the little dab of glue there. Fold this about 3/4 of an inch. Did I do it, you guys? Yeah, I think I did. I'll just make sure it's straight. And then we're going to finish up by getting a little bit more glue in here. Okay, I want this to butt in. You see what I did? I kind of drew it back and then I butted it. Did you see that, you guys? And then I'm going to take the object here is to make it look seamless if you can, or close to it. I see a little bulging there. I'm just going to tuck that in and wipe away my glue, and look at that. Isn't that wonderful? So guys, here we go. Isn't that beautiful? You can see the comparison, but now the big test, right? You're going to take this over 200 pound upholsterer into this dainty little chair to see what happens. You ready? This could be on our funniest videos. I hope not. Perfect. See you next time.